All right, go ahead and label the topic PEMDAS, and then it is Unit 2, Notes number 1. So this should be review from last year, so we're going to quickly go through it. All right, order of operations, that's what you call PEMDAS, right? What you're used to calling it. The order of operations, that just means that there are specific rules that we follow when simplifying expressions. All right, let's go through what each one means, even though we probably already know this. And expressions right here, that word just means an equation, but without the equal sign. So get used to calling that an expression. The P stands for parentheses. All right, it looks like this. You will do everything inside the parentheses before you do anything else. E stands for exponents. And we just learned how to evaluate exponents, right? So you have some number down here, and then you have an exponent up there. And then multiplication and division come next. All right, multiplication and division. Why are these written together? Think to yourself real quick, why are they written together and not separately? They're written together because you do whichever one comes first in your equation or your expression, right? So you solve them left to right. Same thing with addition and subtraction. You also solve them left to right. And I just realized that I wrote the wrong right because it's early and I'm tired. So hopefully you wrote the correct right. If not, fix it. Okay, over here, I'm just gonna put a little star to remember. So multiplication, division, those come before addition and subtraction, right? But between multiplication and division, you do whichever one comes first in the problem. All right, so if we had 7 divided by 2 times 3, we would divide first before we multiply. All right, let's take a look at number 1. I'm going to start at the top of the list, so I'm just going to rewrite it over here. PEMDAS. Remember, these go together and these go together. Okay, do I see any parentheses? Yes, I do. So I need to solve everything in the parentheses first. So I'm going to rewrite the rest of my problem, and then I'm going to just solve my parentheses. 6 minus 5, that gives me 1. Now, I don't have any other operations going on except subtraction, so I'm going to go ahead and solve that just left to right. 4 minus 1 is 3. Bring the rest down. 3 minus 1 is 2. That one was pretty easy. Let's go ahead and do number 3. We have 2 sets of parentheses. We can solve this inside these parentheses, right? 41 minus 9, that would give us 32. Inside these parentheses, is there anything to be done? No, there's no addition, multiplication, exponent inside the parentheses. So that's already done, right? There's nothing inside of it to do. So I'm gonna bring it down. What operations do we have left? I see division here. And if you remember, this is multiplication right here, right? When you have parentheses touching another number, that means to multiply. In this case, we're going to do the division first, since it comes first in our problem. So we have 32 divided by 4. And then I'm going to rewrite this multiplication part. Now we have 8 times negative 2, which is going to get us negative 16. I want you to pause the video here, and I want you on your own to do numbers 5 and 6. So pause it, do them on your own. All right, you should have paused the video. If you did not, then you're not following directions. All right, but now we're gonna go over them together step by step. All right, you do the innermost parentheses first. So we have parentheses right here, but inside those parentheses, we have these ones that I highlighted in green now. So we're gonna do this part first and rewrite everything else. 6 minus 5 is 1. Don't forget to put those other parentheses back that are still in the problem. Next, I'm gonna do 12. And finally, I'll do my division. Number 6. Lots of stuff going on here. I'm gonna do my parentheses first. We're gonna rewrite everything else. 3 times 2 is 6. Now we read it from left to right. This multiplication comes before the division. Bring this part down. And finally, I do my division. Go ahead and flip on over to the back. Okay, so let's take a look at number 7. We have parentheses. And inside our parentheses, we have an exponent and we have multiplication. So following PEMDAS, we've got parentheses covered because we're doing this inside part first right here. Inside we have exponent and we have multiplication, right? Which one of those will come first? The exponent. So I'm going to do 3 squared, which is 9. And then I'm going to rewrite the rest of my problem. I still need to complete the rest of the parentheses. There's your final answer. Go ahead and pause here and try number 9 on your own. All right, you should have paused and then done number 9. So here's the step-by-step solution. We're gonna rewrite this part because I know I have to do my parentheses first. Inside my parentheses, I have subtraction and I have multiplication. Multiplication always comes first. So rewrite this part. 2 times 4, we get 8. Now I still have to finish my parentheses before I do anything else, right? So 19 minus 8. Now, everything inside the parentheses is done. Nothing more to do. So I move on from parentheses and I move on to exponents now. So this part, 2 cubed, that means 2 times 2 times 2. So we get 8. Now we can do our multiplication problem. 8 times 8 is 88. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do number 12 together. This one's a little bit tricky with all the negatives and exponents. Okay, so we have parentheses. So here's my PEMDAS again. We have parentheses, but everything inside the parentheses is completed, right? We can't do anything else with -10. We can't do anything with -6. There's nothing to add, multiply, divide it to, right? So first thing after parentheses is exponents. We've got 2 sets of exponents. So everything that doesn't have an exponent, I'm just going to rewrite. So here's what I need to complete in this exponent step. -6 squared. That would be -6 times -6, which is a positive 36. 3 squared, 3 times 3, which is 9. Now all we have is addition and subtraction, and then we're just going to do it from left to right. So we start on this side, we have -10 minus 36. Bring the plus 9 down. -46 plus 9 is -37, and please use a calculator. We don't need to test on whether or not you can do this in your head anymore. Just plug it into the calculator. All right, skipping down to number 15. This one's a little bit different because it's written as an entire big fraction right here, right? You need to do the top of the fraction separately and the bottom of the fraction separately. Then you can divide it in the end, right? So do top on its own and do the bottom part on its own, right? Pretend they're completely different equations. If that helps, you can even put this in parentheses and this in parentheses, since you know to do parentheses first. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the top. Top part, we're going to get -7 times, well, 2 to the power of 4 is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which will be 16. Bottom of the fraction, we need to do division before we do subtraction. So we have 18 minus, and then we need to solve 12 divided by 3, which is 4. And then also don't forget about this attached to the end, minus -2. And we'll deal with that later, after you simplify the fraction. Fraction is division problem, so that has to get done before this, minus -2. All right, now on top of our fraction, we have -7 times 16. That's gonna get us -112. On bottom, we have 18 minus 4. That is going to get us 14. All right, now I'm also gonna deal with this minus -2. What do we do when we have minus minus next to each other? We replace it with a plus. And then don't forget your 2. Remember, that's not a -2 anymore. We replaced the negative symbol, both negative symbols, with a positive. So you just write the 2. Okay, now we're simplified on top, we're simplified on bottom, so we can do division. Remember, this fraction right here is just a division problem. So we have -112 divided by 14. Definitely use your calculator for that. You're going to get -8, and then bring down your +2. -8 plus 2, that's going to get you -6. Go ahead and pause here and try number 16 on your own. Okay, you should have paused the video and gotten an answer for number 16. We're gonna go ahead and go over it together. So remember, let's do the top part first. We have 19 minus 8, which will get us 11. On bottom, our first step is the exponent, right? So I have 5 minus my exponent. You're going to do 2 times 2 times 2. You'll get 8. Again, on top, we have 11 plus 4, which is 15. On bottom, we have 5 minus 8, which is -3. Now that the top is simplified, the bottom is simplified all the way, we can do our division problem. Remember, fractions are division problems. 15 divided by -3, that's going to get you -5. All right, that's all for notes 1 of our second unit.